Started as an East Coast vibe, now I'm going worldwide. We got this bitch going crazy. I used to take the Mazda for a drive, now I'm on the 405 like it's fuck you, pay me. We really sick of standing outside, had to push them all aside. It's what you get for trying to play me. I bet they make a movie when I die just to talk about my life. They need an actor to portray me. I got this motherfucker clear like an eye drop. I got elevated flow, I'm on a high top. I got little something stacked like an IHOP. This is 05, you will put it on your iPod. I'ma give you something that you can't forget. Put the price up, baby, add the tax a bit. Know you saw the comma, thought it was an accident. Well, it wasn't. It's about time the kids buzzing. I'm trying to get a peek in the elevator. But if we talking peaks, I need mine like the Himalayas. I'm talking yay high, man. I never had a vertical limit. I ain't seen you put in work in a minute. I gotta put on for the family. That goes for every person that's in it. Used to scrape by working as a service attendant till I got more. Bitch, I ain't comfy, I need the top floor. Doing anything to get that spot for. Started as an East Coast vibe, now I'm going worldwide. We got this bitch going crazy.
What is up, party people? You know I always start this show off by showing love to those companies who help make this podcast possible. Guys, one that I don't do enough and talk about, and I get that a lot of you aren't business owners, so it's hard for you to understand the value of this one, but I have loved working with them for going on almost 2 years now, is COMPANYCAM. I really need to get one of them on here again because this thing does so much that I don't even do it justice. I'm just going to be honest with you. Something as simple as I say, the photo documentation, it's that CYA, it covers your ass as far as all the photos, it puts them, it categorizes them, it timestamps them, you know exactly who took it, when it was taken, because sometimes, you know, nowadays in the smartphone and all that kind of technology, you have to cover your ass, you have to document stuff. Maybe you're doing projects for customers who aren't home when you're doing it. There's all kind of different things, so pictures really speak 1,000 words, and COMPANYCAM has done that the best. It has also added ways for you to communicate with the employees as you're doing it. You can communicate with them. It's like a direct text, but it's all inside of this one little box that stays there, and it keeps all that clutter off of your phone. Guys, we've all been there, that you go into your iCloud or Android, whatever it is that you use, and you have all these pictures of nomenclature, models, and serial numbers of different units, no matter what side you work on. And then you forget to, you know, you got to spend a Sunday or one day going through trying to remember to delete all that shit, you know, because you can't find that picture of your daughter or your son or your wife or whatever it is you were looking for. Well, it doesn't have to be that way. Organize that stuff, be professional, be able to send it to customers in pre-built templates in a custom professional way with COMPANYCAM. No longer need to spend that extra $10 a month to up your storage because you don't feel like going to delete all those pictures. So I'm telling you, guys, give COMPANYCAM a try. They're amazing people. I love everybody over there, and I am so excited to have been working with them for 2 years now. Next, you know who it is. I talk about them every week, and I don't care. I'm going to continue to do so, is my friends over at BLUON. Like I said last week, man, yes, I'm a sponsor. You know, they sponsor me. So, yes, BLUON does pay me every month. But I put $10,000 of my own money back into the investment. You can go on to a thing called WeFunder. You can see it. I was their #1 investor. I believe in this place so much that this place is going to grow. They're going to continue to upgrade the HVAC industry that I invested my own money back into them. All right? So that's why when some people say like, oh, Gil, you talk good about them because they're sponsored. Guys, that's not how I work. And anybody who knows me knows that's not the case. Any of these companies, if I wouldn't say something about them for free, I won't say it paid. So BLUON is constantly changing the game. They brought out 2.0 and immediately started trying to make it better. How many companies work so hard on something to get it out, and then as soon as it comes out, most of the time they're just like, man, My hands are clean. This thing's out. Let it rock and roll. As soon as they put it out, they were trying to find ways to make it better. And that's constantly what they did. There was issues with getting quotes from the supply houses. It wasn't coming fast enough to the technicians or the business owners. BLUON has already dug into it and has gotten almost all of that taken out. So guys, when I tell you that BLUON is a resource that every single one of you HVAC contractors out there should be using, I mean it. We use it in our business in Beltway. The technicians love it. This is how they order all their truck stock. If they need certain motors, it's very simple. And pretty soon I'm going to have somebody from one of the local supply houses, the manager who deals with BLUON on the other side. He's going to be on here to tell you how much he loves it from his side. So guys, remember, BLUON, upgrading the HVAC industry. Let's get on with this. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless the United States, and thank you to all those men and women who defend it.
Five, four, three, two, one, go.
Welcome to the #1 rated HVAC podcast. If you're looking to grow in the HVAC industry, then you're in the right spot. Blue-collar people talking about blue-collar shit. Let's get better together. So turn up the volume, buckle your seatbelt, and let's welcome your host, Gil Cavey Jr.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the HVAC Uncensored Podcast. I'm your host, Gil Cavey Jr. Here we are, another night, another hump night. Thank all of you for being here. Let me make this chat. I finally got it bigger. Had some unexpected technical difficulties coming in here. I am wearing pants tonight, Brian. I fucked up my knee somehow. I don't know what I did. I don't know, man. Getting old sucks. But real fast to everybody, some of my moderators, Mr. HVAC Rookie, Jason Johnson, what is up, my friends? Mr. Brian Sanders, Mr. Steve, Everything HVACR, Neil C. Videos, Mr. Blogger, who was on the show a little while ago, what is up, my man, Mr. Nestor? Let's see, Mr. Sam Andrew, what is up, Sammy? How you doing, buddy? I think that's everyone that I see for now. But guys, I have a great show tonight, man. Like I tell you, this podcast, you know, and to be honest, there's some changes that are going to happen. I want to get back to the roots of the show. Some of these companies and stuff like that coming on, I'm going to get away from it. Sometimes, even though I get to meet cool people, I don't enjoy doing them, and that's not what it's for. And to be honest, the analytics, you know, tell me that's not the shows that we love. No, this is my alma mater, my high school. So it's the baseball team. So there's a whole bunch of them. You'll see me wear this one, a red one, an all black one, all kind of stuff. But trying to get back to some things. This podcast has always been technician related. It's always going to be. And so I have some things changing, but obviously you guys know that I'm moving, trying to get into that new studio. So a lot of stuff going on. So just bear with me. But I'm very excited for that. With that, the reason I brought that up is because shows like tonight, or why I love this, you know, that I was reached out to somebody, I talked to him, and it's a fellow technician who started a business 2.5 years in, and now he's doing absolutely fucking amazing. And I'm super excited to hear his story. Like, this is what excites me, to see our fellow brothers and sisters in the industry crushing it. You know, whether it's a technician, starting a business, whatever it is, this is what excites me. This is what I want to do. This is the kind of shows that I want to have on here, not sitting here talk about, you know, a product that half of you aren't going to buy. You don't care. A lot of you come on here to support me, which I appreciate. But those they're not really the fun podcast that I want to keep producing. Ones like tonight and other technicians and hearing their stories, that's what I want to do on here. And that's what we're going to continue to do. So I literally went through my booking site and I told a bunch of people that I canceled. I said, hey, man, I appreciate you being interested on the show, but we're going another direction. And I canceled. So I just opened up a bunch of dates. The podcast was booked out to almost December, and I canceled a bunch of them. So making some moves here, try to keep the content fresh. But without further ado, man, I want to introduce this person. And he just told me how to say his last name, and I'm probably going to say it wrong. But guys, I want you to meet this gentleman, and I would love to hear his story. He's been a fan of the podcast, which is absolutely awesome. I love to have him on here. So, Mr. Brandon Saiz. Did I get it?
Nice. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yep.
What is up, Brandon? Thank you so much for being here, man. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me on. Like I said, I've been.
Oh, we lost him. He was so happy he left. Looks like you're still there, Brandon, just your camera. Real fast, I'll talk to the chat. So, Jason, we've been doing a shit ton of Linux. There you go. Can you hear me, bud?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good. If something happens where it kicks you out, just come back in. It shouldn't happen too much. It's this thing gets based on your local signal and stuff like that. So,
It sound okay? Because I was on the AirPods before.
you sound fine.
Cool. So yeah, thanks for having me on. Like I said, you guys are the first podcast that I ever saw. I just typed up and I started watching everything you had.
That's awesome, dude. Thank you very much, man. I'd say all the
Absolutely.
time, man. I can't believe what the podcast turned into, but it's one of the best parts is being able to meet different people and talk to different people. It's been awesome, man.
Yeah.
But screw me, man. I'd love to hear like your story, man. So for one, before we get into the business side,
Yeah.
let everybody know where you're from, how long you've been in the industry, how you got into it, etc.
Yeah. So I've been doing this for.
Ah, Jesus, man. Man, I hope this stops because Brandon has a really, really awesome story that I know you guys would really enjoy. So I hope this thing does not keep kicking him out. I don't know why that keeps doing that, buddy. I'm gonna see if I can send you.
No big deal. So yeah, I started. I've actually been doing this my entire life, really. You know, my dad got me into it at a really young age. I would help him do. I don't know if you're familiar with swamp coolers, but I would help him do swamp coolers out here. It's very dry heat. We did a bunch of gas lines out here, and then I really had my first full-time job at 19. So I started out in a warehouse. I was a little parts runner. You know, I used to take a little giant ladder and an Ultima and pull up to houses and do changeovers. So I've been at every single step as far as a technician. So yeah.
That's awesome. So what made you like, what made you take the leap into your own business? Because a lot of people say they want to, but they don't actually do it. So what made you do it?
Well, so a few things, right? I got tired of, for me, I got tired of people always putting the governor on me. I'm a very fast-paced guy. I like to move. I like to go fast. I like to move quickly. So it kind of drove me crazy. I felt like every company I was at was always like, well, slow down a little bit, just do this job for a while, just do that. So a big thing was just I wanted to take a governor off, and I wanted to raise the ceiling so high for myself and for the people around me. So it was important for me to do it for myself. And then, of course, make sure that I had a platform and an opportunity for other people to be successful. That's how I became successful, was getting on with a great company. That's how everybody comes up. You have to get on with the right people.
Yeah.
So I wanted to roll the dice and, play my cards and see how I could do.
That's awesome. So, do you do mainly resident? I know you do plumbing too. I was
Yeah.
peeping out your website today. Um, so plumbing, and you do just residential, no commercial.
We do about 90-10, 90 residential, 10 commercial. I try to stay away from it, to be honest. It's not really my thing. If it's low hanging fruit, I'll take it on, but it's not something we touch a lot.
And that's kind of funny because just so you know, you're kind of defying the odds because every class I've ever taken, especially in this area, any company with the name mechanical is always commercial based. It's not a
Oh,
residential.
that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, and so normally they say because most of the time if you're trying to promote to the residential customer, they don't know what the fuck that means. They don't,
Correct. And they don't. We definitely, the logo says NCB Mechanical, but on trucks, everything else says NCB Mechanical Plumbing, Heating, Cooling. So
Oh,
I did take a little note of that and added that.
yeah, no, that's awesome. And you said so now you've only been in business 2.5 years and you got 12 to 14 employees now?
So yeah, we have 14 employees. Um, I've been at this 2.5 years. Yeah. We started towards the end of 2020. It was the very beginning of November of 2020.
Damn, so you decided to start a business and then you decided to start it during COVID. You got some fucking cojones on you, my man.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's what I was told, that it was a little scary, but to be completely honest, I wouldn't have had it any other way. It excited me. It gave me a rush, and I don't want to say it's been smooth because it absolutely has not, but the adrenaline rush of like people around me saying like, don't do it. It's hard and it's extremely difficult, but that rush, how difficult it has been to just grow just a little bit with inflation, material shortage, a chip shortage with trucks. Everything up to this point has just been extremely hard. Banks won't finance you, um, and I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy, but I've at least enjoyed the 2.5 years because I knew it was difficult.
That's awesome. And one thing, so running different businesses, man, and coming up with different size companies, and I hear a lot of these people say is enjoy those little moments, man. Every win that you get, enjoy
Yeah,
it. Don't ever think it's too small, and enjoy the road as you get to whatever it is that you want to be.
enjoy climbing the mountain. Yeah, and I believe we have. It's been fun for us. We're a pretty young group, so I think we got a great team, and everyone's pretty excited about what we're doing.
That's cool. So, I mean, and I'm not gonna sit there and act like I'm some, I know all this geography. I know where Albuquerque, I know where New Mexico is.
That's right. That's
I-
where I'm
I-
from. Yeah.
is that a big market? I mean, so that's not a crazy huge market, is it?
It's about 1 million, the full metro area, Albuquerque, and like off the top of my head, like 4 or 5 surrounding cities, smaller cities. So it's not a huge market. It's not a small market. It's probably just below like a medium, I would think, right? 1 million.
It's probably bigger than Baltimore, to be honest with you. I mean, Baltimore is
Yeah.
small.
But this is 1 million total. This is the full metro area. Albuquerque itself is only about 500,000, 600,000. So
Huh. That's pretty neat. So, and you said that you guys you're up to like almost 6 million in revenue.
zero, yeah, 0 to 6 in the 2.5 years. So we're on pace to do just a little over 3 million this year. So we've done 1, 2, and 3, and we we've been actually very profitable. So we've had some we've done good.
That's awesome, dude. Good for you. One thing, just a learning lesson, you may have already know this, is don't get hung up on that revenue number. Is make sure your net profit is where you want it. If you can be 20,
Yeah,
25%, you rather that revenue be a little lower, but you're making more money because nowadays they say, and I believe it, in order to run a company with an amazing culture, which if you're doing this, obviously you have, you almost have to be at 20, 25% net profit to be able to pay for those things to achieve that culture. You know what I mean?
absolutely. Yeah, no, absolutely. And we're at 24 this year, so we're doing
Fuck yeah.
this is great. Yeah.
And for all you out there, not to interrupt you, for all you out there that maybe you don't run a company and you don't understand net profit, most businesses aim for 10 to 15. Okay, so when he's saying he's finishing at 24, that's pretty fucking amazing. You know, at Beltway, we stay up in the 20-25 range. You know, we try to be as high as we can, because they say if you fall below 6%, you have no cash flow. You know, the company has no cash flow. So being up there is a good feat. It means that you're pricing yourself right, you're paying your people right, you're making enough money off of what you're doing to be able to funnel it back in the company to keep that machine growing. That's what that means. So
Yeah, that was one thing I didn't understand fully. And I guess you can't blame myself or anybody else, but being in a truck, you learn to manage just that truck, and you don't realize like all the moving pieces that are constantly going around. You know, even if you're in management, it doesn't matter your position, but there's so much going on outside of that single truck. And I remember being a tech, and I was always just like focused on my truck, my 5 or 6 calls, you know, my time. Everything was just about me, you know. And then now it's pretty interesting.
yeah, because you know how it is. Everybody works for a company, and you think that, you know, fucking owner's sitting in his office getting rich. And
Yeah.
and then you start running the company, and you're like, damn, he really wasn't making as much as I thought he was.
Yeah, so I guess a big thing for me was learning that the more problems you're able to solve, the more successful you'll be. So even if you're in the field, the more problems you're able to solve, that's how you're going to start moving up to management or anything like that. The more stress and problems you can solve, that's the key to success, really. One of them in this specific industry.
Yeah, and that's why sometimes good management positions, whether it's office, service, even being a general manager like myself, it's about putting out fires. And sometimes when you're trying to hide it, like I
Yeah.
mean, not hide it, when you're trying to hire new people when somebody leaves or something like that, yes, you want them to have a base skills, but you want a very fiery, you know, person. Sometimes it's figure it the fuck out. You know what I mean? And you got to be able to
Yeah, man,
bounce
I'm gonna show
around.
that. Yep. Yeah, that's what I say all the time. Like sometimes you just got to get it done. You just got to figure it out, make it
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah, it's, you know, I remember when I first came here and we started using like Excel and making sheets, and I'm like, I don't fucking know how to do this, man. I'm like, give me a wrench, I'll fix something. I can't make a
Yeah,
fucking Excel sheet. But I figured it out. I watched YouTube. I didn't know shit about audio or podcasting. I watched videos and I taught myself. So that proved to me that if I could teach myself to do this, then with videos and books, I can teach myself to do anything if I really want to.
got to learn to become a problem solver.
Exactly. So how many trucks you have on the road now?
It's 10 or 11. We only have 2 office people that don't have a truck, so 12, about 12, 9 or 10,
Nice.
somewhere around there.
Nice. So let me ask you this: when you first started, like, where were you getting the capital from? Did you have somebody to invest in you? You just saved up your own money, good credit? Like, how did that go?
Yeah, so this business is 100% funded for me. I never reached out to a parent, a bank, zero. I made the leap, and that was scary for the first 3 months. So the first guy that I brought on, I was actually paying out of that amount. You know, you're learning. I was terrible at marketing. I bought some stupid marketing program, and I saw that number dwindle very quick, and that was scary. But to answer your question, it was 100% myself funded the whole thing, the truck, everything.
That's awesome, dude. That's awesome. Yeah, because a lot of times in the beginning is when you see that, like I get it in the beginning that maybe you charge a little bit less because you're trying to get your name out there. You're trying to just get people familiar with you. But then I
Yeah,
see people that charge so cheap, they're busy. At the end of the year, they look in the bank and didn't make any money. You know?
yeah. No, yeah, we were we were honestly profitable after like probably the 6th or 7th month, but it was difficult because you have to spend so much to just even get your name out there just a little bit. You know, the truck, the insurance, the logo, the workman's comp. You start paying everything right away. You have to put yourself on a payroll, so it costs a lot.
Yes.
But to your point, you have to figure out your pricing very quickly
Yeah.
because if you don't, you're screwed. So like even this year, we got hit at the beginning of the year with 24,000 from workman's comp because it wasn't updated, which wasn't really like it's not a huge deal, but like things like that, they pop up all the time. Issues come up all day, every day. So yeah.
Yeah, trust me, we got a $50,000 or $60,000 IRS bill. You know,
Oh
uh,
man, there you go.
yeah.
Make mine
So
look small. These small problems. You guys got bigger problems. That's what I'm trying to get. I
yeah,
want to
thank
figure out a
God we
fifty
got
thousand
good
dollar
lawyers
IRS
because
bill.
we fought it and they're like, don't pay that shit. Um, and they looked into it more, so we might get if we would have just paid it, it might have fucked us. So thank God we got good people advising us, like, whoa, 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 something don't smell right here. But you should have known
Right.
that kind of shit was gonna happen when 89,000 more IRS agents get hired. They're just trying to find a way to
They
fuck
they,
small
they
business.
got to find something, right?
Yeah, exactly. So you guys you have a shop and stuff now? Like it's all like
Yeah.
we
So well, we have the basic story, right? But we started from my garage. Then we moved to a storage. Then we purchased a point 0.3 of an acre, or not purchased. We rented out. It had a warehouse and a little small office. And then last month, the beginning of July, we purchased a huge building. It's on 2 acres, huge yard. It's
nice.
pretty legit. We love it. It's been great. So everyone's really excited about it. It's a
Fuck yeah.
huge warehouse area.
That's fucking awesome. I love hearing that stuff, man. Um, and then being able to grow and to be able to get there, with the financing and stuff like that. I mean, it's people don't realize that it's
Yep.
in the beginning, which obviously it sounds like you are because you wouldn't be where you are if you didn't, especially with no outside money, is you're putting money back in, to keep it growing, you know?
Yeah. I try to reinvest everything the whole time. Shout out to my mom. She's the one that taught me how to manage the money.
Hey, it's awesome you have her, man. It's a godsend. They had somebody to
Absolutely.
give you that kind of stuff because a lot of people when they start making money, you know, and I that's why I tell people like don't ever go start your own company because you're trying to get a pay raise because you're doing it for all the wrong reasons.
I took a pay cut.
Exactly. That's what
I took a
happens.
fucking pay cut, and it
Yeah.
is. That sucked. I was because we talk about the profit and how you have to continuously push revenue and reinvest into the business. I knew what I was going to be able to make, and I was like, damn. Well, I mean, fuck it. I'm this far. I got to keep rolling with it. But if you think you're just going to start off and make more, you're like you said, you're doing it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, man, because you have to keep fucking building that foundation to grow, and if you do it right within a couple of years, you can definitely get back to make a decent living, you know.
Yeah,
And then obviously you get the tax write offs, probably your truck, your cars, or whatever through the business.
yeah.
You have some perks that you can take advantage of. But you keep putting that money back into the whole point is to me in business is to get it where it's a well-oiled machine where it runs that if God forbid you're sick a day or you go on vacation, your business is still running.
It'll still run. Yeah, absolutely. That's the goal. That is 100% the goal.
Yeah.
And that's what a successful business is. When you look around at even the bigger companies, you don't see the owners day to day and pushing and shoving and grinding all the time still. So if you're around a successful growing business, you know, that's what it is.
Well, that's like at Beltway where I am now, um, my job as the general manager is I take care of the day to day, you know. I make sure
Yeah.
everything is running smoothly, everything's going as planned, you know. Obviously a whole bunch of other things, the training and looking out.
Yeah.
And then Ryan as the owner, he's the one to step away for a minute and have the vision of where we're going. He sells
Correct.
me
Yep.
the vision. Together we sell it to the company and then I help his plan come to fruition.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that makes sense because my best friend actually helps me run the business, but he's probably a little bit more of the brains. I'm more of the bronze, and he helps me. He helps me put everything into place. I'm like the hustler. I like to move fast. He's definitely a lot more like methodical and puts things in place and where they need to be and stuff like that. So
That's funny.
just like what you're saying.
That sounds like me and Ryan for sure.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, no, that's awesome. So let me ask you this: since you've opened the business, how has your life changed? like in like a positive way? Were you able to like, you still living in the same house? I mean, like,
Yeah, so it's changed in a few ways, right? I am in the same house. I could be in a different house if I really wanted to, but I don't want to be, I don't know, live within my means here. I want to stack money. I got a bunch of different business ventures. I just opened up another business. There's other stuff that I'm working on trying to compound. The way that my life has changed is I feel like I'm kind of narrowing in on like my purpose in a sense, if that makes sense. I finally feel like I'm able to give back, so when people come on with us and they're from a smaller company and they're looking to get to the next level or something like that, it really pushes me and inspires me that like I'm like, hey man, I know how to get you to the next level because I started at zero in this field. So I think that's how my life has changed. That's the positive side. The negative side is just like anything, it's a hell of a lot more stressful. The whole day is stress. That's what it is. It's stressful. You got to figure out problems. You got to solve problems. This guy's mad. This customer's mad. You're getting sued today. You got workman's comp coming in. It's just part of it. So, but the pros outweigh the cons. Absolutely.
I, I
I'm excited to go to work every day and be like, damn, but let me I got another shot at this thing. I'm gonna figure it out
that's
somehow, some way.
I love that you said that you finished with that you love going to work every day. Real fast, Brian, have a good night, buddy. Thank you for being here, Brian Sanders. And that's exactly, like I don't own Beltway. Ryan is the 100% owner of Beltway, but I treat it like it is mine, and he knows that. Like I have skin in the game. I care about this place, and I so, long story short, I worked for a big company, not a big, but a company I was with for 12 years. I watched us get up to, 10, 12 million in revenue. I helped build that company up, worked my way up the ranks, but it got to the point where I wasn't happy. I didn't like going to work
Yeah.
anymore. And, you know, I met Ryan and I took a pay cut to go work with him. And it was the best thing that I ever did. Granted, Brian takes care of me. I've got it all back, tenfold. But
Oh yeah.
it's I love going to work every day. Like, when I wake up, I mean, yeah, I feel like shit. I feel like I'm getting old. Still, my knees fucking up. But
Yeah. Yeah. I feel you on that.
yeah, but it's like I love going to work. And yes, some days are stressful when it's, that customer that that your team did an amazing job, but they're like, I'm gonna give you a 1-star review if you don't give me half my money back.
Yep.
It's just
Yep. You can't make them all happy.
exactly. You just take it as it comes and you deal with it, man. But it's still
Yeah.
when you invest yourself in something like that, and I think high energy people like yourself, when you have a business and you know what's at stake and you enjoy what you do, I think it's almost sadly a good recipe for success because
Yeah.
you have to have that little bit of pressure to guide you and push you. If you don't have it,
Yep.
then you get comfortable and you stay still.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So there's been days where I get extremely stressful, and I'm like, damn, this fucking sucks. Like, this is not necessarily what I really wanted here.
I'll
Like,
just
I
go
don't
work for
want this
somebody
stress.
else, man. Fuck this.
Fuck it. Yeah. And then I look in the mirror sometimes, and I'm like, you know what? What else would you want to be doing? And then it's like, fuck it, it's on, and then it's back to grinding.
Yeah, it definitely has to be, man. And I always kind of take it back to like, in sports, you have those bandwagon jumpers. Whoever wins the Super Bowl or the World Series, all of a sudden they're a fan. And they
Yep.
never get to truly enjoy. Like, I'm from Baltimore, so I'm a Ravens and an Orioles fan. So when the
Okay.
Ravens win the Super Bowl, like it's awesome. The sense of like enjoyment and emotion that goes through you. Like if the
Yeah.
Orioles win the World Series, I'll lose my fucking mind. It's the
That's
same
a
way
long
in
shot, but
business.
yeah.
Yeah, it's the same way in business. If you're there and you have skin in the game and you put the work in and you reach those successes, it's like the same concept. Like
Yep.
fuck yeah, like oh my god, we did it. We never thought we were going to do this, but it came. um so when you have skin in the game and you do that, that's why I think a lot of these companies, when you let your employees and you're open up to them, you tell them like, hey, this is the plan. This is
Yeah.
where money's being spent, this is where money goes, and if you do this, then we can get this kind of stuff. Like when you're
Yeah.
open with them and they know it's not just you sitting back fucking counting your money, it
Never.
gives them some skin in the
I was in an
game.
attic yesterday. I was just in an attic yesterday trying to help these guys figure out how to run a line set. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it just goes
it's
full
funny.
tilt.
Yeah. It's funny that you use the sports analogies though, because I go in there and it's like I said, it's my best friend, kid I grew up with. But we go in there and it's like, all right, I'm the quarterback. I'm going to call the play. But you know how this shit works. We're going to be calling an audible and we're going to have to run check downs. So it's funny that you said that because we do that every single day. Like, all right, what's going to be the check down? What's going to be the audible today? Because we know that it's going to happen.
Yeah. So let me ask you this: since you've grown that, how have you been like, finding employees? And then, so I might have to give you a minute to talk because it's got a couple points to it. I would say, how has it been finding employees as you grow, making sure they fit into your culture, and training? So you can take any part of that question.
Well, so I'm 29 right now. The reason why I'm saying that is because I'm with this big social media boom. So I've actually had a lot of luck. Anytime I post on Instagram or Facebook, on any platform like that, I've had a bunch of people send me messages. Like if I was to post I'm hiring right now on Instagram, I don't know what you're gonna consider a bunch, but you're talking like 5 or 6 messages. Like, hey, my cousin was thinking about getting into it. My dad's talked about this or whatever. And that's probably been my biggest thing. We've never done like a ZipRecruiter or we tried Indeed. We tried Indeed, and it sucked. So everything we've done is word of mouth and Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat.
Sweet. To be honest, I wish we had it like that. I mean, I guess because this market, the DC Baltimore market, there's so many big companies that for us, it's not just about finding people; it's finding um the right people. Because sometimes they can be a good technician, but they don't fit in with the culture that we have. And to be
Yeah,
honest, we have such a good nucleus of people that they police themselves. They'll come to me and like, hey, Gil, like this guy's a cool dude, but he's just not going to fit in here. Like he's just,
yeah,
it's been 3 months and, this has happened or that's happened. But we've had extraordinary luck, which I know the people in the chat have probably heard me say a million times, is with our young guys. Like they've came in, they didn't know shit about this industry. And one of my passions is teaching it. And I've been able to teach them and now watch them flourish. It's been fucking amazing. Like like that dad moment.
yeah, yeah. And I guess mine's like a big brother moment. So, but yeah, same thing, And I think most of our guys are definitely under the age of 30. I think we only have like 4 or 5 people over 30. So it's a young group, and that's what I meant. We've had just a lot of luck off of social media, and then I came from a very big company here, so we've actually had 3 people come over from that company, but they would have never known me if it wasn't for that big brand that they already knew me from. So they already knew what I was about and stuff like that.
That's cool that it works out. You know, um,
And then at this point, it's just word of mouth. Like I said, I just had a guy call me last night about doing drains. So like, now it's just people are starting to pop up a little bit more often.
so how do you like between all of your team are your people like cross trained or do you have some like they're just HVAC? Like I got
Yeah.
7 HVAC guys and 4 plumbers or whatever it is.
Yeah. Yeah. We have them split up. If they do HVAC, they do HVAC. If they do plumbing, they do plumbing. And then we have a few helpers that kind of bounce around with whoever needs them.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Sorry, I'm gonna real fast answer this question in the chat. So Mr. Sam says, but tell me about BLUON and why invest if you think that. Um bu- 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 uh so um so you guys know why I invested in BLUON is BLUON has grown year after year. And the way these investments work when these companies open up is you get a piece of the stock, a piece of the share, and then I make money on their growth. If you guys know what a surefire bet, if I told you if you watched me sit here and put this in my hand and I said, pick what hand it is, and whoever wins it gets $100. Um, you'd be like, oh my God, he's a fucking moron. It's in this hand. That's how me betting into there. That's why I was the lead, because I know that I will get my 10 grand and some back. It was just, it was a smart investment. So,
Gotta go down.
oh, well, I talked about the BLUON investment. Well, fine. This is why I don't answer the chat, fucking bastards. Oh, I gotta show. I saw you. I'm getting ready to sleeve out this arm. I finally started my tribute to my dad.
Oh, let's go. Nice.
Yeah, so it's kind of like supposed to be the Marine Corps, but normally it's the Eagle, Globe, and Anchor. But instead of the Eagle, we put the Raven up here with a halo over his head. So my buddy BG is a tattoo artist. He's won a bunch of awards. He's fucking awesome. I'm glad he's my friend. We're slowly I'm gonna go down my whole arm. Something I've been talking about doing for years, man, and you just keep pushing it off. I can't wait to finally. Now I got my 18-year-old son into tattoos, and he's going back.
They're gonna feel good.
Yeah, I love him. Hey, my buddy's actually kind of light-handed though, and so I'm like, yeah, this is great.
Okay, well there you go. Because the few guys that I went to were brutal.
Yeah, I got a bunch of other ones. This one, my forearms, my back. That guy was like grinding.
It's brutal. I mean, you can only
Yeah, so it's pretty good. Yeah. Hoorah, buddy, hoorah. It's shit. See, that's why I don't answer the chat, because you guys get me fucked up when I'm trying to talk to the guests. Jesus. Prick. But no, man, I love hearing that about your story, and it's awesome that, so many things have worked out like that. That's fucking amazing. So what are you guys doing for marketing? You just doing like social media? You doing anything special, you think, or?
We've really harped on our Google stuff, like heavy. Everything Google right now is what we're really on. So that's probably our biggest thing. Yelp as well. I don't know do you know what Nextdoor is?
Hmm.
I didn't know if that was out there or if that was a New Mexico thing. Regardless, we're pretty active on there.
Nice. So you're using like Angie's Leads and all those different platforms, or?
So Angie's List is a weird one, right? Because we did start with it, but it's not how we got to where we're at. So the reason why I even got involved with Angie's List is because it was free. Or I shouldn't even say free because it's fucking expensive.
Yeah.
But it was an easy way to get into different houses without word of mouth. Meaning, they're still random customers. Yeah, it might not be the best market, but you're in a bunch of random houses still. I think I'm pretty good at selling, and I was able to sell a lot. What we used Angie's List for was a pivot. What I mean by that is we were able to get emails and phone numbers off of it, and we added it to our CRM right away. That way, whenever we did direct mails or as we started to push our service contracts, we still had those customers in there to say, hey, $10 off a service call or $200 off a new system, whatever it was. So Angie's List is an interesting one because we used the heck out of it that first year, maybe even second year, or like year and a half, I should say. But it gets really expensive. Usually Angie's List is just a race to the bottom. They want the cheapest price. We were able to compete in that area our first 6 months or so, but it was not our way to grow by any means. It was just an easy way for us to get customers.
I have to tend to agree with you. So in a lot of those, and what happens is some of them, you got to call them back immediately, and you call them back as soon as it comes through, and they're like, "Oh, my system already got put in." Well, how the fuck am I?
Yeah, and you're like, man, your shit just came through. Like, I just got the call. What do you mean fuck, that was a $150 call. That's funny. That pisses me off all the time. I'm like, you want to yell at them, but obviously you can't. It's just funny because you're like, man, that just cost me $150.
Yeah, it's crazy. And seeing how their prices went up. So I do think that there's ways to use them. The only thing that scares me about Yelp is they don't like do anything with Google for the most part. Like they don't.
Yeah.
as far as the reviews. But I think if you learn how to use those platforms, and obviously they can't be the only source of your marketing, but I think if you use those platforms correctly, that they can only help you, because we use them, but we use them in a certain way, and it's a small piece. One thing
you have to learn how to pivot them. You have to gear them correctly. You have to gear each thing correctly. And I would just say we're the biggest on Google now. Like we took what did we take? It was 400 calls or so from Google. It was a lot. Google was 50% of our call volume last month.
Hey, that's awesome. The only thing is, so I always try to, and Ryan is the same way. So when you hear me say Ryan is like one of my best friends, the owner of Beltway. So we always try to stay ahead of trends. One thing to know, I hope this helps you out so you look in, is they say that Google could be gone in the next 5 years. So
yeah,
just make sure that you have transitional things, because we've done that too. Like first it was like, our 5-star reviews. It was like, you want to get over 300 5-star reviews.
Yeah,
Once
that's
you're
always
above
like
three,
a number.
yeah. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was agreeing with you. I just said that's always a key number. Every time I talk to someone about Google, they're always like 300, 300, 300.
Well, that's the number. Once you get to above 300, you're considered like a legit company as far as ranking goes. Then the next one's going to be 1,000. So we have multiple locations, which we don't, but we do, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
We have one office, but it makes you look bigger to compete in certain areas. So as far as how you ping, because normally you ping in like a 15-mile radius around whatever that address is.
Yep.
So when you can learn some of those different things, it can really help you when it comes up, when people want local, people that can really help you as far as how you ping in those certain areas. Another thing, if you don't use or never heard of, look into, you can reach out to Mr. Ryan Fenn, the owner, is Chirp. So a lot of things in your office, especially if you have 2 people in the office that you're doing, it is AI. It is automated campaigns that you can run to your customers, and you can have different campaigns. So tune-ups, follow up for sales, follow up for, regular service calls, and it's all AI generated, automatically does. So it sends, it'll do ringless voicemails. Then it'll send them a text message.
Oh, man.
Then it'll send them a email. So it's pretty badass.
This AI stuff is going to be pretty interesting here in the next, 5 or 10 years or so. It's going to be interesting how it really plays out. Because it's going to be a big thing. I already know it's going to be a big thing. But I'm just curious, how it's going to really affect everything.
It's already crazy now. Like, like there's things with like videos where you can just pop the video in there and it spits out the shorts and the short form content with the, everything already on it. I'm just too lazy to use it, and I have a really good editor, so I just send him my stuff. I'm not trying to take his job. It's worth paying him for. But the other thing is, I'm curious. So, what CRM are you guys using?
It's called Service Point Pro. It's actually a local company out here in New Mexico. The big company that I came from actually created this and branched off. This is what they use, and it was called Service Point. And then they launched Service Point Pro and started to offer it to people around the country, I believe. So it's really good. We track it very well. It shows you everything: invoice, average invoice, gross margin. We use POs for every job for job tracking. So I mean, it's very good.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've never heard of that. Most people, it's always the big boys, Service Titan, Sarah, Jobber, some of those big ones. House Call Pro. We're still on House Call Pro, and I do give it to them. So the big company I came from, we use Service Titan, and I think Service Titan is awesome for the technician. Like, you can't beat it. The office side, once you learn it, it's great. But the learning curve, you want to blow your fucking brains out.
Super complex.
And it's expensive as fuck, man. It's so expensive.
That's why we didn't go with Service Titan. And again, it was good. I'm sure the whole little demo they did was cool and stuff. But again, I've already was familiar with this platform, and if this company that's doing $100+ million a year is on it, I'm gonna do it too. And again, it's smaller. It's not very well known, but it's going to get bigger. They're pretty smart about their marketing, and I know that it's going to be up there with everything you just named. Because House Call Pro used to call all the time. So I'm aware of what's out there, but I can't complain about this price that we're getting this one at. So
And you find what works for you. If it works, there's no need to switch because switching CRM
exactly,
sucks.
it's terrible. I didn't realize how. That's the stuff that I also would bringing up changing from a tech to owner or management is just the details of everything is fucking insane. We went from Service Fusion to this, and it was a nightmare. It was like so it's so complicated to do. I'm just like, fuck, man, are we profitable? I don't know. I mean, what's going on here? But
So,
it's annoying,
so a lot
tedious.
of the big ones make it easy, to be able to pull all of your information to bring it into them. But some of the
Yes,
other ones, they don't want you to leave. So they're not going to
correct.
do that. You know what I mean? So they
Yeah.
want to make switching hard so that you don't switch. Um,
Yep.
yeah. Adrian,
Yeah. So Service Fusion
Jobber.
was
I
insane.
said Jobber, bro. And if anybody's using Jobber right now, use Adrian's code. I'm in the process talking to Jobber now. The only thing with me is I wouldn't work with House Call Pro. I had one that I was, sponsored by not long ago that I ended up canceling with them was Field Pulse. And they were cool people, man. They had I think the program was pretty decent, but I didn't use it. And I just feel bad offering a service to other people that I'm not using myself. And that's just the hard thing. And it's I feel bad because I always say I believe in all my sponsors and I don't want to have one, even though I would go in and mess around with it and thought it was cool. I had to be honest when reading a sponsor read because I would tell people, hey, I don't use this, but I think it's cool, and I just feel like, I don't know. For me, it was just wrong.
Yeah. Sometimes it's a hard pitch. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, um, jobber, slobber, bobber, robber. um, yeah, no, that's crazy. So out there, what is what's your van of choice? Do you have like a certain one that you try to keep buying? Or you just get whatever's the best deal?
No, I try to stay away from the best deal thing. You know what I mean? I try to. We've been trying to get the Ford, the Transit, the 250s. So they're running like 50 plus thousand. Those have probably been our best trucks. The Ford KUVs skyrocketed in price, but those are overall the best. The best bang for your buck is that Transit 250. Are you familiar with what I'm the yeah?
Oh yeah, we
The
have some.
Transit 250. Yeah, the Transit 250s are nice, but the 350, the KUV, that body style with the doors on the outside, that is the best truck for sure. But the pricing fucking soared on those ones. So it's
2022,
been
we brought 3 of them brand new. 2022, the Ford Transit 250s, 65K each. But
yeah.
65K was, custom Adrian steel wraps. The insides, the ladder rack, it counted our wrap and all kind of stuff. So that was like total everything we paid. And they were so hard to get. We had to go through Enterprise to be able to do that because
They get jump,
dealerships couldn't
have to
keep up
jump
with
through
it.
hoops to get them.
Yeah.
Yep,
And
it's
Adrian
annoying, dude.
it's fucking really annoying, and especially when you have money and you're wanting to buy them and you can't. It's funny. Speaking of Adrian Steele, they might actually be the newest sponsor of the podcast. I've been talking to a local one. They're gonna redo one of my vans for free, or one of our vans at Beltway, not my van, for free and upgrade it and make some videos. And then they're going to sponsor the show. So I'm still working out those details, but that's pretty awesome because some of the new stuff that they have for vans it's not cheap, but it's pretty fucking amazing though.
No, and it's important that your trucks are stocked correctly, or like with the correct ladder rack. The swing ladder rack. I make sure I get those on every single one. I make sure it's shelved properly. These guys want to take pride in it too. You throw them just a little truck and stuff like that, they're not going to be excited about it. They get a brand new truck, backup camera, smells good. They take more pride in it. So
You're 100% right, man, and that's huge. So let's just say to everybody in the chat real fast that's out there, if you start with a new company and I never had this to be honest, but you go to a company and it looks like a cool place and then you pull they're like, oh hey, this is your new van and it's a brand new fucking van, it's clean, blah blah blah. It's gonna be pretty awesome versus the company that they pull out some, van from the 1990s that's you don't smoke, but some guys smoke like a fucking chimney in there and it smells like asshole. Like having a new van is a
Yep.
big deal. That's your office. That's where you are every day. So yeah, we try to do that. We only have one older van now. It's an older Chevy or GMC, that style. And one of the maintenance techs who was actually Ryan, the owner's nephew, was in that. And we'll slowly upgrade that. But other than that, all of our vans are new. So we have some of the Transit 250s and we have some of the Dodge ProMasters. Ryan really liked the Dodge ProMasters.
Yeah. Do you like them?
Not anymore after how many fucking transmissions we've put in.
Yeah. That's always been a Dodge thing, though, the transmission.
Dude, it's been, thank God, one was under warranty, even though the dealership, I wanted to fucking blow the fucking place up because they were like, oh, yeah, you can pick it up Wednesday. You call Wednesday, it's like, oh, man, the transmission's not even here. It's like, well, how the fuck was I going to pick it up Wednesday if the transmission's not there, you fucking dope?
Yep.
But granted, besides like tires, I was surprised that, a 2022, we had to put new tires on one of the Transits already. Apparently you have to like make sure you rotate them because something like that. Other than that, they've been pretty straight. So I think that's where we're gonna go moving forward.
The ProMasters?
No. The
Transits.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have a mix.
I mean, you got to kind of pick your poison. I think they don't. I hate to sound like an old guy. They don't build them like they used to. And even like the Fords we've had have still had problems, but what are you supposed to do? There's only Ford and Dodge ProMasters. I mean, you only got two choices. But we've had taillights go out and you're like, bro, this truck's a month old. What do you mean? What do you mean you have to redo the whole lock system on it? It's just insane. So, again, problems.
Yeah, it's crazy. Our new Transits have like those like nice ass ladder racks where like the ladder comes down the side and like makes it easy to take off. And then I get thinking, I'm like, man, fuck, I wish I had that shit when I was in the field, man. I never had no shit like that.
Yeah.
But
I used to probably have to tie down with the bungee cord and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. Trying to fucking shimmy that bitch off,
Standing on your tippy toes on the bumper. Yep.
Yeah, it was fucking crazy. And but I do think those vans are the only ones to go, man, because having those taller vans, and that extra shelf, like you can just organize your van so much better. Like I'm trying to get it, and I won't lie, I'm not totally there, but I'm trying to get to the point where all of the vans are set up, like at least all the service vans are set up the same exact way.
Yeah.
Everything's in the same place.
Yep. That's kind of nice about this company that we use. He gives you a layout. He says, this is an HVAC setup. This is a plumbing setup. This is a mixture of both. This is what we prefer for electric, or this is what we use for electrical. So this is nice.
That's sweet. So, so do you carry? Well, I don't even know if you have this. Is there licensing in New Mexico?
Yeah, we have to carry the MM98, which is kind of weird. I didn't realize that in other states you didn't have to do that. I'm like, damn, that test was a big. Yeah, I had to pass a 400 question test, and I failed one of them. So call it 500 questions.
Yeah, so I have a master's license in the state of Maryland. Ryan has 4 masters actually. So he's Maryland, DC, Virginia, Delaware. But I've never taken the other tests. I've never had to. Plus, I don't even use mine because it's through him. But until I started doing this podcast and I realized only 18 of the states require licensing, I was shocked.
That's insane. Like, I'm pretty sure, I don't think you have to have one in Texas.
No, they just have contractor's license. Pennsylvania, right by me, has nothing because I have a brother-in-law that's up there fucking, well, I hate that sister, so she can, that fucking cunt. Anyway, yeah, I have a brother-in-law that's up there fucking, hacking shit up. I mean, you can literally go to Pennsylvania and open a business and be like, oh, hey, I'm an HVAC company.
You just need a business license and that's it, and then you're good?
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. So does somebody else have to hold your plumbing, or do you hold the plumbing as well?
No, I hold the plumbing. Yeah. So ours is called an MM98. I don't know what the term is out there, but ours is called MM98. It's plumbing, it's refrigeration, gas, and then process piping.
Oh yeah. So we have one that's each individual. So it goes for plumbing, for electrical, for HVAC. You are a apprentice. You have to be an apprentice working under a master for 4 years. After 4 years, you can take your journeyman's test. You take your journeyman. You have to be a journeyman, I think it's for 3 or 4 years, and then you can sit and take your master's test.
Man, that's a motherfucker to get out there.
Yeah. So sometimes you can get lucky if you know your shit and you go down there because it's all money making bullshit.
But yeah,
And I know people that have, to be honest, some of the best mechanics I've ever known didn't have a license, or they were
yeah,
journeymen.
that's usually how it works.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
yeah,
if you call down there and you say, hey, I've been in the trade for 15 years, I got pay stubs, I can prove it, I want to sit for my master's license, they're not going to tell you no. They're gonna take your money, and if you fail the test, they're gonna be like, oh, well, come back in a month and try again. It's just money. But I said this before, man. I love the way like Canada does it with their like Red Seal stuff and the restrictions they have. Like, not that you want to make it hard, but I feel like you would kind of level off some of these
checks and
hacks.
balances.
Exactly, some of these hacks in the field if there was more preparation, that not just anybody could do it. You know what I mean?
Yep. No, absolutely. I totally agree. I think it's insane that we're dealing with like us out here with gas and refrigeration. Refrigeration is dangerous if you don't know what you're doing. So like it's just crazy that like all you would need is a business license because even some stuff I'm like, damn, I don't know if I'd even fucking touch that. You need a new one.
And then
Like
just
I'm not touching it.
yeah, letting you work in people's home. Oh, and then there's gas fitters. So I have my
Yeah.
gas fitters license and HVAC, which covers refrigeration. But see, that's awesome for you to be able to do that. So that's one thing around here. Like, we are strictly just heating and air conditioning. We don't have plumbing or electrical because in order to do that, you have to buy someone's license. You have to bring them on board. Because, unless Ryan or myself try to go get our plumbing masters, to be able to open that side of the company. Because I think doing something like that is going to have to be our next step to open up the plumbing or electrical side.
So you guys are only doing HVAC?
Yeah, that's all we do
Okay.
here. So and it's been good. We know business is great. I can't complain. But I think at some point that may be something we have to do. And we talked about it before. And to be honest, Ryan wanted to do it before, and I kind of was like, whoa, let's be really good at one thing before we put another one out. But now I think it may be close to time to that, though.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely heard that when I was first starting that I should have just focused on one. And I got here, I've gotten this far doing two, but I could see why it's important to focus on one is because they're similar, but they're very different. And I've even learned that the technicians from HVAC are completely different from the plumbing technicians, and it's been insane. I come from an HVAC background, so as we continue to build out our plumbing, I was always interested. Like this is just different. Like it's a different conversation that I have with these guys than it is with the HVAC guys.
So you trying to do more service plumbing, like not much new construction, like rough-ins and shit like that?
No, I don't. I try to stay away from new construction. Everything's service.
Yeah, good for you. I don't blame you. Well, plus, and it's easier to keep your plumber because plumbers aren't really what you would say seasonal. I'm not a plumber, so I don't want to talk out the side of my mouth, but it's not.
No,
really...
that's another thing is they're year round. Like whereas it sounds so cliche, but HVAC is so weather dependent. Like it is so. If it's hot, you're busy, but if it's 70 degrees outside, you're dead. So like, but plumbing, water's always at full pressure. Everything's going through drains. Plumbing's always much more steady.
So do you so you guys, I was trying to like weather wise, you kind of just me thinking like are kind of like Arizona with swamp coolers. It's kind of like that dry heat. But do you guys have cold winter, or is it like make your money in the summer because winter sucks?
Well, so I think it's just like any demographic. Your money's going to be made in the summer because of the markups are so much. There's so much more. A split system is going to cost more than just a furnace. So to answer your question, it'd still make your money in the summer, but we do have pretty cold winters. I don't know what everybody else would consider cold, but I would say it gets like as low like 15 to 20.
Oh, yeah,
So it's cold.
enough.
Yeah, and then like throughout the day it'll be like 40s.
I love what you just said though, because in the summertime you can sell the whole system. Well, in the wintertime, sell that whole fucking system too.
Correct.
We
Well,
had a,
you can, yeah. You got to have the right guy in there. It's got to be like an R22 type of setup. You know what I mean? You got to have the whole deal.
yeah,
But
we
yeah,
we had a bunch of guys just wanting to sell furnaces, and they're like, "Oh, well, you can't get the whole thing," and I'm like, "Okay." I'm like, "So I'll go back out there," and I said, "I bet you $100 that I'll get them to do the whole thing." Um,
yep,
just because you got to be able to talk to them and be like, like I get the people that if they did, they replaced just the AC and their AC is 5 years old, but their fucking furnace is 25 years old. That's different. But if it's all the same, that's an easy sell.
yeah. So every situation is different, right? You know, especially if it's like a downflow system or something like that. You have to pull the furnace anyways to replace it. So you're like, we're installing a furnace already. You might as well just go with a whole new system. You're not even going to save money. You're almost going to pay the same price. You might save $1,000 or whatever.
Yeah. So
But if
it
you have
used
to
to
pull
be,
that furnace, it's the same job.
yeah. And plus when we do like maintenances and tune-ups, we pull heat exchangers. Like we literally fuck those. I mean, and I have cameras. They're nice, but we train them hard on how to take them out, how to check them, and we'll pull it. Only ones that are over a certain age. I'm not gonna pull a 2-year-old heat exchanger. That's fucking stupid.
Yeah, yeah.
But we pull them and sit them on the ground because, that way you're not looking. Some guy doesn't have the same cracked heat exchanger picture he's had on his phone for 10 years showing customers. You can literally show it to them. And to be honest, you don't realize how many are cracked until you start actually inspecting them.
Yep.
How many have airflow issues, and that thing was doomed from the start. And to be honest, we get a lot of sales. They're not even cracked. They have a bunch of what we call temperature stress points. They just look rough, and the guys are honest. They're like, "Hey, this thing is perfectly safe. Like it's not cracked, but there's some spots that look rough. Like they're going to be a problem in the future, so we just have to keep checking it." And people will be like, "Well, fuck, let's, the furnace is fucking 18 years old. Let's just replace it." It's like, okay,
Yep.
So
Yeah,
it's
exactly. Most people will work with you, and most people they pretty much tell you what they want. It's making this kind of noise, it's doing this, and you're like, okay, cool. I know it's going to be making that noise. I know it's going to be causing this or this, and then that's how you work your ethical always upsells
well,
because you
yeah,
have to
and
know what to look for.
people just want you to be honest and give them options. Like,
Yep.
I always say this: none of us want to go to a restaurant where there's only one fucking thing on the menu.
Correct.
So when you go to these people, you just give them their options, and then
Yep.
you're there as the professional, the expert, to give them, oh, well, if it was me, I would do this, but I get it, that's the most expensive. You know what I mean? There's really no bad option, but I guess these two
Yep.
make more sense, like that kind of deal. And I think when you actually are honest that way, the customer got tired of being
The car
bullshit.
stuff.
Exactly. They got tired of it, and they'll see through it. And if they see that, that's when the objections come out. They put the blockers up, like, "Hey, I gotta talk to my wife." Like they're trying to do anything just to get you to fuck out of their house.
Yep. All the time. It's important, I feel like this option thing only got big probably these last 8 or 9 years, building out these options. I don't know how long you've been doing it for, but I remember the first few companies I started with never preached the option thing until this last company I was with. And man, the value of it is insane. There's been times where customers are like, "Oh, well, the 17 series out of my price range, and I don't know, it doesn't sound good." I'm like, "Well, I'm just gonna put it on there for you. If you guys have questions, just let me know." And then I throw on the 17 seer communicating system. They call back with questions, and they're like, "Fuck, let's do that one." I'm like, "Let's go." But it would have never happened if I didn't put the option on there.
It's called price conditioning, and that's how we do it with, we offer 4 systems. So we do Lennox now, and we have a
Oh
I was a carrier guy for the longest time. But around here, it's just what you can get, the service you can get is why we had to. And the
yes,
deal we signed with Lennox is fucking like it was too good to be true.
good.
Um,
No, that's important. That's important to have a good relationship with your vendor and stuff.
exactly. That's when people are like, "Who should I sell?" Like, who's going to support you the most? That's who you
It's who's the
sell.
most important. 100%. At the end of the day, I hate to get you off track really fast, but we're going down this quick rabbit hole. Everything's pretty much the same. It's all pretty much the same build. As long as it's a name brand, Lennox, Carrier, Bryant, Tile, Train, Bream, they're all pretty much the same. You're going to have different opinions, but you have to go with who's supportive, and that's what we've always done.
Yeah, no, I agree, and it's um, their warranties. Do they have
Yep.
a buyback program? Like if you spend so much money, are you getting a portion of that back, whether it's marketing or whatever it is? Like, it's who's going to give you the most deal. Like, are they going to help train your team? Are they going to have tech
Yep.
support that's available when you need them? Most don't, which is why BLUON thrives. All that kind of stuff. And that's why we went with them. But yeah, we have so we have one of their signature is like our top, and then we have what we call platinum, that is their elite. It's all still inverter and all that kind of stuff. And
Yep.
just by offering that signature, so that signature system, which is top of the line, 28 SEER, that's like 8% of the
Think
population.
taller than you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
8% of the population buy that. But you know what? When you look at that one for 26,000, all of a sudden it makes that next option a little
Not
bit.
looking so bad.
Exactly. So you just price condition people. Like, and we had a guy, that one of our young guys that I was talking about, that's been doing awesome, has been selling the fuck out of the platinum, because he'll show that signature one and people are like, well, I love that technology. Is there something close to that that's cheaper? Yes, there is. There's this platinum
Yep.
option, so it's pretty awesome. What kind of equipment are you selling?
We sell Heil.
Oh,
But it's
nice.
just like what you
Scary.
said. We have an extremely good relationship with the vendor. Actually, the guy who's the president of the company is like a good friend of mine. So he works with us. They're very supportive. They'll drop equipment off if they messed up. Like, they've been great. So,
That's
but
all
like,
that
for example, like we don't have a good relationship with the Lennox guy out here. It's like a small company. They always mess up, and it is what it is. It's nothing against Lennox. It's literally comes down to that support that you mentioned.
Yeah, dude, all the companies I work for coming up were all some sort of Carrier, Bryant dealer, and I was Carrier through and through. If somebody said Carrier wasn't the best, I'd fucking fight you over it. But as I ventured out and I understand the business side of it and what it is, and it sucks because I do love Carrier equipment. I think that it is really good. I love their Infinity line. The last house I was in, I had two of their grain speeds, the 25 VNAs in my house. I loved every second of them. It was hard to leave them. But the Carrier around here, like, their stock has been atrocious. Like, you
Yep.
can't get stuff. You call to get a motor and they're like, oh, that won't be in for like a month and a half. I'm like, how the fuck do I tell a customer that I can't have that blower motor for a month and a half?
Middle of summer too, and you're like, man, you're really putting me in a bind here. I can't go in there and just say stuff like that. It's like
Yeah.
a sin. You can't just go into a house like that.
Yeah, because I am big on going back with OEM if I possibly can.
Yeah.
I get it. Some old beat up units, a condenser fan motor. Yeah, you can go with some rescue motor. 1075 or 825, not a big deal. But some of these other units, I try to go back with OEM if at all possible. That's what was made to be in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
It gave me more peace of mind whenever I was in the field and I did OEM. It gave me like a peace of mind thing. When I go to Johnstone and get these random ones, I'm like, fuck, man. I'm gonna do it, but like, I don't know. I was always a little skeptical.
Well, plus then it's easier to install. Like, some people in their mind are like, oh, the OEM is, we're gonna charge more and charge less for the retrofit, when a lot of times they're the same fucking price. It's not that they're that much cheaper, and the aftermarket one is harder to put in because you have to match it up or make holes. Where the OEM,
You have to mess with the wires a little bit, like a
Yeah.
brown white wire, and you're like, fuck, man, I don't know. It's just gonna start spinning. We've gone back to houses where the fan motor's spinning down, and I'm like, well, that's why your system's failing.
yeah,
And it's always the rescue motors because people don't know how to wire them.
yeah, so yeah, the OEMs are just, you put them in, they're made to be in that situation. It's wire for wire. It just makes it simple for guys.
Like for like. Yep.
Yeah, you can't beat it. But shit, we're past an hour, man. So I'm not gonna keep you too much longer. But dude, I thank you for reaching out, man. And I'm awesome that you did it. It's awesome to hear your story. I love seeing guys take that jump and succeed. Another thing that I've said a million times is, the tax code was not created for 9-to-5 employees. It was created for entrepreneurs. And it's awesome to see people taking those steps and seeing you succeed. So that's awesome to hear you succeeding, dude. Good for you, bro.
Love it, man. Appreciate you for having me on. Like I said, it's kind of cool because I've been watching this show for a long time. I've seen you had Victor Rancor on here, so it's still a guy that I follow. So it's been pretty cool. I think you had another guy from like Baltimore, like the installer guy.
Yeah.
Is he from that area?
So I had a HVAC blogger who's in the chat right now. I had Jeff
His name's
J.
Jeff.
Yeah, Jeff Jadam HVAC is up in like Jersey. So
Yeah.
Jeff's a good friend of mine, and also Mike
Oh,
Flynn.
New Jersey. Okay.
Yeah, so that's
Yeah.
one thing awesome about this podcast, dude. I've been able to meet some amazing people, dude, and that's what's awesome. I love this fucking trade. I love giving back to it and meeting some of the people that are doing fucking awesome out there. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, man, stay in touch, dude. I'd love to have you in a year or two or a year or so. Come back on and see where you're at. Who knows? Maybe next time I talk to you, you're like Victor and you're fucking like 15 million or something. And I'm like,
Let's
fuck.
do it. Yeah.
man,
Working on
deal
my
with
first
you.
exit, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And I'm probably gonna I don't know about New Mexico, but I'm gonna go out to the West Coast at some point. I actually have something planned once I move to kind of do like a road tour kind of thing. So
Okay.
I'll see if I can get out to fucking Albuquerque, fucking New Mexico. You know what
Let's
I mean?
go. That's right.
Yeah. So Brandon, thank you so much, dude. Keep fucking
Cool.
crushing it, brother. Stay in touch with me.
Yo.
And I'm glad
Yes,
to hear
sir.
you're doing so good, my man. That's fucking badass.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome, buddy. Let me go ahead and start closing this thing out. Man. Well, guys, that's what I was saying before, man. This is what this show's all about, dude. Fucking, showing love to our HVAC brothers and sisters, people out there, whether it's how you got in the trade and what you're doing now, and how we say there's no path is correct. However you got in and however you made it that's your path. Everybody can be different. And, seeing people that, for Brandon to take the leap during COVID, you know what I mean? To start a business. That's why I said, you got some fucking cojones. There was people like, oh my God, I'm going to lose my business. My shit's going to close down. I'm talking like people in the trades because they didn't know. It was scary. It was a scary time to open a business. And now look at it, man. His business is thriving with that many employees in such a short time. That's fucking awesome. And I love seeing that. So anybody else, if you're out there, man, and you started a business, and I'm not saying you got to be some 5, 10, $15 million company, but if you started a business and you're thriving now and you figured it out and it's working, come on, man. Like, I'd love to fucking hear your story. I love hearing that stuff. And, sometimes I fucking learn stuff from people like Brandon. They say stuff and I'm like, well, fuck, I didn't even think about that. So it's awesome. But I'm going to close this out. Like I say, bear with me. I'm in the process of, my rental house is almost done. I got some people working in there. The tenants who were in there that my mom knew were fucking atrocious. Like, fucked up some things in the house. It wasn't, but like holes in the wall. So, I got the whole house being painted, some carpet being put in, some new tile, and as soon as all that's done, I can get that thing sold, and then I can get those proceeds to go over to where we're going, get us moved into the house, and start getting this fucking new studio set up. And I can't wait for this whole process to happen. And I think it's going to be awesome. And like I said, I'm going all out on the new studio, and I'm excited, really, really excited for it to happen. It's just this whole moving has kind of been like, I didn't even plan a vacation this summer because the whole moving process has kind of like been blinded by everything. So can't wait for it to be done. I really can't wait for it to be done so I can get all this rolling and then get back to some kind of normalcy. But let me close this out, though. Make sure that you guys follow me on all the social media sites. I appreciate the follows, the downloads, and all that kind of good stuff. Thank you to everybody in the chat that comes here every week. I appreciate you guys, man. You guys are my fucking boys and girls when they come in. I really, really appreciate you guys. Guys, remember, be safe out there, man. All right? It's hot. Drink water. Stay hydrated. Keep your head on a swivel. We all got somebody to make it home to. All right? Let's make it home the same way we left. The other thing I always say, and you hear me say it more in the podcast, is do the little things. Set yourself apart from the next guy or girl. All right? Like Brandon just said, he didn't know the first thing about running a business. He took that leap and he fucking figured it the fuck out. What he didn't know, he learned. Like I say, I didn't know anything about podcasting and cameras and audio stuff. I learned. When it comes to business, I was a really good technician. I wanted to learn things about business. I watched videos about Excel sheets and different things. guys, keep your creative process going. Keep growing your mind. Keep teaching yourself new things. And I'm telling you, don't ever stop. There's a podcast out there. There's a YouTube video. There's an online course, whatever it is. Don't hold yourself back and keep growing. I promise you, you'll thank yourself later for making that tip and, to keep investing in yourself, was what I meant to say. Besides that, man, I love you mofos. I appreciate each and every one of you. And yeah, I'll talk with you mofos next week. All right. Peace.
Thanks for listening to the HVAC Uncensored Podcast. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Instagram, or email us anytime at hvacuncensored@gmail.com. Now, get back to work. Shut this down. The views and opinions shared on the HVAC Uncensored Podcast may not necessarily be the views and opinions of our sponsors or guests.
Who's a chicken, Sam? You chicken shit. I saw your 2-second podcast on AHR. What are you talking about? All right, I got to go. Have a good night, everybody. See you.